Lyoto, first fight back in Los Angeles in a couple years. What's the feeling like to come back here?
So, I've been living here in LA for 7 years. So to fight here is an amazing thing to happen to in my career, to fight again here. That time when I fought here, I just was moved to LA in 2012 against Ryan Bader. And now the feeling is the best, man. So I feel so happy to have this fight, and Los Angeles is my home.
Lyoto, what was attractive to you about this fight? Because you were kind of in the driver's seat. You could have gone to light heavyweight, maybe fight for that title, possibly even fight for the middleweight title. Why was Mousasi the guy that you wanted?
To be honest, so I was pretty open to fight in any class, 205 or 185. But Bellator offered me to fight against Mousasi in June, right after my fight, right after his fight against Lovato. I had this opportunity. And in order to be very active, so I believe that I cannot refuse fights, because if I didn't accept this fight, I only maybe would have a chance to fight for the belt against Lovato in November or December, or fight with against Ryan Bader maybe at the end of the year or next year. So I like to have more than one or two fights, at least 2 or 3 fights a year. That's my plan.
If you win, you want a title fight in either division, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I win this fight on Saturday, so I'm gonna have my title shot, definitely.
Any preference as to what division?
So, in terms of cutting weight, so it's very hard to cut to 185. It's not easy, because you have to do a very good diet, and also there is a process that you have to get through, go through. So that's pretty much difficult, but I'll be pretty open. Whichever comes first, I'll be ready.
Bellator's talking about possibly doing a show in Japan in December. You obviously are half Japanese. Would you be interested in fighting there?
Of course, very interested to fight in Japan, because Japan is I used to live in Japan for a year when I used to work for Antonio Inoki. And if I have a chance to come back and fight in Japan, that's gonna be an amazing opportunity.
Do you still keep in touch with Inoki? You talk to him still?
Oh yeah, with his brother, because I get along with his brother more than Inoki. Inoki's a busy guy. It's very hard to get a hold of him, but probably in October I may go to Japan, then for vacation, and then I'll meet Inoki.
Has Inoki ever slapped you or chopped you? Because you know that's one of his things that he does.
Yeah, he did me.
Yes.
He did on me in my second fight, in my first fight in Japan. So he did 3 slaps.
3 slaps?
No, not even 1, 3.
After
because
or before?
there is a legend that they say that when Inoki slaps you in the face, you have a success in your life. I said, no, can keep slapping me.
Lyoto, what do you remember most about the first fight with Mousasi in terms of what he was able to bring?
So it was in 2014. So it was in Brazil. I knew pretty much Mousasi because back then I watched a lot his fights in Japan, in UFC as well. So I knew that what he probably could bring, for that fight. And now it's another opportunity, it's another moment, it's another time. So, but we are the same fighters, so we cannot change everything. Of course, we evolved in some aspects of the fight, maybe on the ground, maybe on stand-up. It doesn't matter a lot, but you usually tend to maintain your accents, your essence.
Coming off of a loss for him, do you think he's still just as dangerous? Do you think, he's still just as confident going into this fight with you?
We never know. We never know how everyone deal with that situation. I don't know Mousasi in these terms, but I believe that every defeat can make you stronger or can make you a little bit worried about the next fight.
He said in the media scrum earlier that he wasn't disciplined in his diet heading into this fight. Do you feel like he's not taking it seriously? He said that he wasn't really dieting for this camp, for his weight cut. He says it's going to be a tough weight cut. Do you feel like he's overlooking you a little bit?
So to be honest, so I try to put my focus on my stuff. I don't try to think about my opponent. The only day that I want to see his stuff is in the day of the fight. You know, that the day that I have to face my opponent, face on my opponent.
Is there any animosity between you two, just with some of the comments he made after the first fight and saying that you were greasy?
No, nor from me.
Okay.
No, I'm very professional fighter. I don't take anything personal. So if he takes, it's not my problem. So I prefer to be away from this stuff because I can control more the situation of the fight. I can control more the fight itself.
Where do you think he's improved since the first fight in 2014?
I have seen his fight lately, and he pretty much improved a lot his ground game. Even though he had a tough fight against Lyoto, but he improved a little bit his ground game. But as I said before, you can never change everything. So you can keep something from the past.
There was talk about, is he the best middleweight in the world because of his win streak before he lost to Lyoto? Obviously, there's a debate with Robert Whittaker, Adesanya. For you, do you think that he was the best middleweight of the last couple of years? Yeah, Mousasi.
Yes, one of the best for sure, definitely. Because Mousasi, when he was in the UFC, he was in the top position all the time, and he faced very legend fighters throughout his career. So he deserved this title for sure, to be considered one of the best middleweights in the world.
We have the middleweight title fight, the unification fight happening next week in the UFC between Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya. Who do you see winning that fight, just as a fellow middleweight?
It's very hard to say something because they have different styles. But I believe that Adesanya has more tools to beat Whittaker. I cannot say that's gonna be an easy fight, but probably Adesanya has more tools.
Gegard was here and he was again critical about the fight and the outcome and also the drug testing, and he said you were greasing. Do you have any thoughts on his criticisms of you?
No whatsoever. So I don't want to mention anything about that. So I just want to keep my focus, as I said before, and see him the day of the fight.
Doesn't motivate you anymore? Doesn't change how you view him as an opponent?
No, because I don't like to put any emotions in my training camp, any emotion in my mind. I gotta be away from that stuff. Because when you put some different stuff like that, some different emotional, when you're in your emotional state, really hype sometimes, it can bother you during the fights, before the fights. And we all know that our mind is everything. If you have your mind very calm, very ready for your next step, everything tends to be good.
Is this something your father taught you? Like, where did you start learning to fight without emotion? Like, was this always there?
Since when I was a child, my father always teach me. He always was teaching me about the philosophy. That's the most important thing, to be honest, in martial arts. This is stuff that you can bring to your real life to keep your emotional very calm, to know how to control everything. I think that's one of the tricky part of our life.
Lyoto, it's almost been 5 years since your last fight with Mousasi. Do you plan on utilizing the same tactics?
I'm gonna bring something new to the table, man. I'm gonna bring something new, but I cannot mention here because it's part of my strategy, of course. You guys gonna see on Saturday night.
Do you feel like you can handle his punching power? And if he decides to take you to the ground, do you feel like you have enough defense to win the fight?
Of course. But my main goal is to not receive any technique from Mousasi, any punches and kicks. That's the main goal all the time, right? But I'll be ready, man.
These guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your prediction for the fight?
Which one?
This fight.
Me?
Gerard said he was going to do a knockout.
I'm gonna do a knockout. I'm gonna looking for since the beginning, man.